Across the vast timeline of human history, some communities rise like stars in the night sky, brilliant, fleeting, then gone. Others endure. They fall, shatter, scatter, and yet, somehow, rise again. Among them stands one of the oldest, most resilient, and most discussed peoples in all of recorded time, the children of Israel. Today, we know them as the Jews. Their story is not bound to one land, nor confined to a single century. It is a journey across millennia, a saga of faith, suffering, destruction, and unbreakable survival. Let us begin with one man. His name was Abraham, a shepherd from the ancient city of Ur, in what is now Iraq. He heard a voice, not from kings, not from priests, but from within. A voice that said, "Go, leave your land. I will make of you a great nation." Abraham is revered by three world religions, Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. He is the root from which they all branch. He had two sons, Ishmael, born to Hagar, and Isaac, born to Sarah. The Jewish lineage traces through Isaac. And from Isaac came Jacob, a man who wrestled with God in the dark and prevailed. God gave him a new name, Israel, he who struggles with God. Jacob had 12 sons. Their descendants became the 12 tribes of Israel, known in Arabic as Bani Israel, the children of Israel. Time passed. The children of Israel journeyed to Egypt, first as honored guests, protected by Joseph, Jacob's son, who had risen to become Pharaoh's highest advisor. But memory fades. Pharaohs change. Generations turn. And soon, the Israelites were no longer guests. They were slaves, forced to build cities of mud and brick under the lash. Their children born into chains. Their cries rising into a sky that seemed deaf. It was in this darkness that Moses was born, raised in Pharaoh's court, yet drawn to his suffering people. One day, he saw an Egyptian beating a Hebrew slave. He struck the oppressor down and fled. But God had not forgotten. In the wilderness, before a bush that burned but was not consumed, God spoke, "I have seen the misery of my people. I have heard their cry. Go, bring them out." Moses returned. He stood before Pharaoh and said, "Let my people go." 9 plagues came, blood, frogs, locusts, darkness. But Pharaoh's heart was stone. Then came the 10th. The angel of death passed over Egypt. Every firstborn perished, except in the homes marked with lamb's blood. That night the Israelites left, 600,000 souls, walking into the unknown. Pharaoh pursued. But at the Red Sea, Moses raised his staff. The waters parted. The children of Israel walked on dry ground. When Pharaoh's army followed, the sea returned and swallowed them whole. This moment, known as the Exodus, became the defining memory of Jewish identity, a story told at every Passover table for 3,300 years. For 40 years, they wandered the Sinai, hungry, thirsty, doubting. Yet, manna fell each morning, bread from heaven. Water burst from rock when Moses struck it. And on Mount Sinai, amid thunder and fire, God gave them the Torah. Not just laws, a covenant, a way of life, 613 commandments, a code of justice, mercy, and holiness. The Torah became their portable homeland. Wherever they went, it went with them. After Moses, Joshua led them into the promised land, Canaan. Today, the land of Israel and Palestine. They fought. They settled. They built. Tribes became a nation. Judges rose, Deborah, Gideon, Samson. Then came the kings. David, a shepherd boy who felled a giant with a stone. He united the tribes, made Jerusalem his capital, a city on a hill, destined to be fought over for millennia. His son, Solomon, built the first temple, a wonder of cedar and gold, the Ark of the Covenant at its heart, priests in white linen, incense rising, the Shekinah, the divine presence, said to dwell there. For a brief, golden moment, Israel was a light among nations. But unity fractured. After Solomon, the kingdom split in two, Israel in the north, with 10 tribes, Judah in the south, with 2. Pride, idolatry, corruption. And then the empires came. In 722 BCE, the Assyrians conquered the northern kingdom. The 10 tribes were lost, scattered, assimilated, vanished into legend. Only Judah remained, but not for long. In 586 BCE, Nebuchadnezzar of Babylon destroyed the temple, burned Jerusalem, took the people in chains to Babylon. This was the Babylonian exile. By the rivers of Babylon, they sat and wept. How can we sing the Lord's song in a foreign land? They refused to forget. They gathered. They prayed. They studied. And in exile, Judaism was reborn, not in a temple of stone, but in the synagogue of the heart. 70 years later, Cyrus the Great of Persia allowed them to return. They rebuilt the temple, smaller, humbler, but standing. But freedom was fragile. The Greeks came under Alexander. Then the Seleucids. They tried to erase Jewish faith, placed a statue of Zeus in the temple, forced Greek customs. But a family, the Maccabees, rose in revolt. In 164 BCE, they rededicated the temple. We still light candles for 8 nights each year. Hanukkah, the festival of lights. Then came Rome. Under Roman rule, a Jewish teacher walked the roads of Galilee. His name was Yeshua, Jesus. He preached love, forgiveness, the kingdom of God. Some Jews followed him. Most did not. His followers grew. They called themselves Christians. A new faith was born from Jewish roots, but destined to spread across the world. Tensions rose. Revolts flared. In 70 CE, Rome crushed the Great Revolt. The Second Temple was destroyed. Not one stone left upon another. The heart of Jewish worship gone. The people were scattered. This was the diaspora. For nearly 2,000 years, Jews lived without a homeland. In Spain, they flourished under Muslim rule. Poets, philosophers, physicians. Then came the Inquisition, expulsion. In Poland and Lithuania, they built the great yeshivas of learning. But pogroms came, massacres, blood libels, terror. In Yemen, Morocco, Iraq, ancient Jewish communities thrived in silence, until they, too, were uprooted. They were merchants, scholars, artisans, restricted to ghettos, forced to wear yellow stars, blamed for plagues, wars, economic collapse. Yet they studied, they wrote, they remembered. From Maimonides in the 12th century, who codified Jewish law, to Spinoza, who reshaped philosophy, to Freud, who mapped the mind, they gave the world ideas. And in the 19th century, a quiet revolution, the Haskalah, the Jewish Enlightenment. Jews entered universities, wrote in new languages, dreamed of equality. But darkness was gathering. In the 20th century, a new pharaoh arose. His name was Hitler. Under the Nazi regime, 6 million Jews were murdered, whole communities erased, children gassed, books burned. A Shoah, a catastrophe. Grandmothers who sang lullabies in Yiddish. Rabbis who knew the Talmud by heart. Little boys with curls and hope. Gone. The world said, never again. In 1948, after the ashes of the Holocaust, the State of Israel was declared. A homeland. A refuge. A miracle to some. But the land was not empty. It was home to Palestinians, Arabs who had lived there for centuries. Farmers, poets, families, with their own history, their own mosques, their own keys to lost homes. Both people said, this is our home. And so began a conflict of narratives, of pain, of competing truths. A conflict that continues today. Today, 14 million Jews live around the world. In Israel, a thriving democracy surrounded by complexity. In America, the largest diaspora, synagogues, bagels, Nobel laureates. In France, Argentina, Australia, communities rebuilding. Some live in peace, some in tension, some in hope, some in fear. They speak Hebrew, Yiddish, Ladino, English, Russian. They argue. They innovate. They remember.